Wuthering Waves just got done with the version 2.1 livestream, so let's condense everything that they talked about in the livestream in as little time as possible. Hey, what is up guys, it's Mordant. So let's start off with the new characters that will be coming to version 2.1 of Wuthering Waves. We have Phoebe and Brant. Now, as for what order these characters are going to release in, we're having Phoebe in the first phase of the game, and she will be rerunning with Chang-Li, along with their respective weapons. Brant will come in the second phase of version 2.1 and will also be running with Chang-Li. So basically, if you missed Chang-Li before, this is basically your chance to get Chang-Li. Now let's go into a little bit of detail into what these characters do. Phoebe is a spectral rectifier character that focuses on two new combat mechanics. One of them was already introduced in version 2.0, which was spectral frazzle, and another one is negative edge. Now we don't have specific details on how the skills work. All we know is that when Phoebe does her skill, she creates a ring. And if she is outside of that ring and you press the skill again, she will teleport inside of that ring. We also know about her intro skill, we know about her resonance liberation, but we don't have details on what they do, how much damage they deal or anything like that. But the animations look cool, and the fact that you can actually sort of pseudo glide with Phoebe is absolutely awesome to see. Brant is a fusion sword character. I was actually surprised that Brant was a sword character. I was thinking he would be a gun character, but no, he is in fact a sword character, and his playstyle is going to revolve around a lot of grappling. Now, just like before, we don't have any details on how much damage his attacks do, or whether there are any buffs or debuffs that are involved with everything that he does, but the animations here are absolutely gorgeous to look at. Now, along with Brant coming to the game, we also have a story quest for Brant. So all of you who love Brant will have a little bit more time to explore his character a bit more and understand him just a little bit more. Now, there are two new areas that are going to be added to the game. One of them is the Rishauli Islands. I don't know if this is the correct pronunciation, but this was how the devs were pronouncing it, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it. The Rishauli Islands are basically north of Renacita, and aside from the Rishauli Islands, we also have the Alvarado Vault. Now, the Alvarado Vault was already in the game in version 2.0, but we're getting an underground section of this entire vault, and from what I see, it looks absolutely massive. Now, aside with the new area, one thing that they're adding is Echo Train. Here we have these train tracks, and depending on the level of clearance that you have, you will be able to ride on these train tracks and also change the direction that these train tracks can go to. And these areas are connected to various areas in the map. And this is actually very genius because from what I see, this area, the Alvarado on the ground, looks absolutely massive. And having this here will make things just a whole lot easier for traversal and all of that. Also coming along with the new areas are two different quests that will be coming to the game. One of them will be located in the Rishauli Island, where we'll be following the Tidebreaker, the gigantic narwhal thing that was essentially going to bring catastrophe to Renacita at the end of the 2.0 story. And for the Alvarado Vault, we're also having a quest where the Order of the Deep is moving some items into the Alvarado Vault. And for all of you Zanny lovers, you will have another chance to meet Zanny in the story and interact with her and Phoebe as well. The new flagship event that will be coming to version 2.1 is a fishing event. Basically, you have to ride a gondola to a fishing area, and then you'll be able to fish for fish, and then you store them, and then you can return them later on and trade them in for rewards. And when we complete this, we will get a new 4-star weapon, which from the looks of it, since it's a rectifier, will probably be a good option to put on Phoebe. Now, I don't know for sure, but this is just an assumption I'm going to make because Phoebe is launching along with this, so that's the most likely thing that will happen. Moving on from the fishing event, we will now have a new weekly combat mode. They didn't really go into details about it, but it seems to be similar to a roguelike from what I understand. Aside from this, the elusive realm will also be getting some updates. They didn't give us any specifics on what exactly these updates will be, and we will also be getting a new Whimpering Wastes mode. Now, this has been all over the news because it was basically teased beforehand, so I'm not really going to go into details about this mode. And aside from all of these new things that are coming, we will also have the usual offenders. We have the 7-day login event, we'll have the logistics company event as well, and most of the other events that we are very familiar with. Now, there are some very awesome quality of life changes coming to Wuthering Waves in version 2.1. One of them, and probably the biggest one out of them all, is Echo Loadout. So now we'll finally be able to save echoes and move them around from character to character. And this is a huge thing because when we think about the fact that we have two different versions of the rover, we have a Spectral rover and a Havoc rover, and we can have two different builds for them, having the ability to save the build for, say, Spectral rover and then moving over to Havoc rover and then having the ability to immediately get our echoes back when we switch to the Spectral rover is absolutely awesome. In addition to this, we also now have a new echo suggestion feature, which is just exactly what it sounds like. The game will basically look at the build of every player that is online and try to give you a recommended build for your character, and then you can choose to equip that build to your characters. A huge improvement, especially for people who are new to the game and don't really know what exactly they are supposed to be putting on their characters. So I 100% support this. We'll also be getting some more space for echoes in our backpack, so we can now store up to 3,000 echoes. I have to be very honest, this is not the change that I wanted to see. I wanted them to address the entire issue that we're having with echo materials, where we don't have a dedicated domain to farm for echo materials. This is probably the most requested thing that I think every single person who is farming for echoes in Wuthering Waves has been talking about. Yes, there are people who think that the current system is fine, but there are a lot of people who think that every current system is fine. I think that there can be improvements, and I'm really disappointed that they didn't talk about it now. They'll probably talk about it in version 2.2. Another quality of life change that they added was for camera mode, and I have actually been requesting for this. The devs have added some poses to the camera and also given us some more control over filters, camera position, and a ton of other things. So for people who want to take a lot of in-game photography, you are going to have a blast with this. I don't think it's peak yet, but it is a massive improvement from what we had before. Now, there were some other miscellaneous changes that they added. One of them is absolutely very huge. Ray tracing is finally coming to the game. Now, the only thing that they mentioned was that it's coming to certain cards. So we don't know which cards are going to support ray tracing. So we don't know which particular cards are going to support ray tracing for the game. So I can't really give any further details on that, but all we know is that ray tracing is finally coming and it looks very, very good. Also, for all of you Apple users who are still on Mac, you will finally be able to play Wuthering Waves on your Mac devices starting from the 27th of March 2025. I absolutely love this because that just basically gives Kuro a little bit more reach, which means that they can reach just a little bit more people, and this will probably mean that they can get just a little bit more money, and that little bit of money is probably going to improve the game even more. Very, very happy to see this. And lastly, we'll be having a few merch drops for the game. Honestly speaking, this version is very, very stacked, and I am very happy to see the devs of Wuthering Waves taking their time to actually put in things that matter. I do wish that they addressed the echoes issues, but I'm fine with all the other things that they added, so I'm not really going to rag on them too much. As for the characters that are coming out, Phoebe has essentially caught my interest ever since I saw her in story, but it remains to be seen whether I'll pull for her. So I'm actually waiting for her to launch, and then when I see people's guides about her damage potential and all of that, I'll decide if I'll actually pull for her. But I'm actually interested, which character will you be pulling for? Will you be pulling for Phoebe, or will you be pulling for Brant? Or will you actually be pulling for Chang-Li if you missed her in her rerun? I missed her in her rerun, but I will not be getting her because I'm not actually interested in her. But let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Was there any other thing that you thought that kurogames could have added in version 2.1 that they didn't? Also let me know down in the comments, like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace guys.